Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. A couple weeks ago, we promised to do a video on the string making jig that Dustin over at the Art of Craftsmanship used to make a double-ended Flemish twist bowstring for his self bow that he made. So today we're going to get started. Hopefully this is a one-day build. I've been meaning to build another one of these since I gave the one that Dustin used to him. So thanks for joining. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe below, and we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so to get started, you need a board roughly 1 by 6 by 28 inches. We go ahead and mark that out on this board, which is longer than that. I draw a center line down the middle, and then we measure in 2 inches from each end, which gives us 24 inches between those two marks. Then off of that center line, we measure 1.25 inches on both sides, which will be the lines for the feathering nails. And then we do the same thing at the other end, which gives us the turn nails for the string to wrap around. These marks down in the middle are 1 inch spacing and will be the area where we set our removable pin to allow us to adjust for string length. And here we're going to go ahead and use 1.25 inch bright finish nails and just nail them in so that you have roughly 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch above it. Again, there's not a lot of force on this. Just try to keep them in a roughly straight line and relatively even, and it'll be a little easier to get your string in and out. This allows you to feather the ends of your Flemish twist strings. And the spacing of those is 3/8 of an inch, and you want to do 10 per side. Once you're done with that, we'll go ahead and get started with the other two nails, and then we'll start drilling our holes. Now my board is only 3/4 of an inch thick, so I go ahead and mark this at about 1/2 an inch, mark it with some tape, and then we go ahead and start doing that. I'm using a random piece of round stock I had lying around, and so I take some time to sand that down to size for the drill bit because it was a little over. But if you're using, a 10-penny nail, you can size that base off of the nail and the drill bit appropriately. Making this removable, which is something that was different from Dustin's to this one, will just make it easier to wrap the string around when it comes time to make your Flemish twist bowstring. Once I'm done drilling these holes, I just come back with a chisel and just clean up any tear out that happened there. Just make sure the holes are nice and clean. And then we go ahead and start taking some of the measurements on the edge and then marking those out as well. What this measurement is for, and it's from 0 to 9 inches, it just gives you something to reference off of when you're measuring the ends of your string to make your loops for your Flemish twists. And I go ahead and mark these with pencil and then go back with Sharpie just to make sure everything's more permanent. If I had more time or inclination, I might burn those in just so there's no chance of them getting worn away easy. And then we also go through and write our measurements for the string length. This is, again, based off of a website that will be provided in the description below, and it corresponds to those measurements. So for this last step before we go ahead and finish the board, I want something that will hold the reel of Dacron B50 string to allow me to pull multiple strands off without having to hold that in my hands or unravel it. So I go ahead and drill a hole here, and I use just a countersunk wood screw up into a piece of dowel rod that will allow me to put the roll of string on it and hold it in place while I'm making strings. So when I first drilled that hole in that dowel, I tried to freehand it, and it didn't go well, and I don't like that. So I go ahead right here and take it over to my drill press and just drill a straight hole in it so that I'm able to get it on there nice and smooth. So that's the finished board. From here, I go ahead and cut it to length, leaving a little bit of extra to drill a hole so I can hang it up, and then I go ahead and finish it with a rub-on tongue oil. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I look forward to making bowstrings with this. If you want to see how that's done, I'll put a link to Dustin's video at the Art of Craftsmanship. Otherwise, I want to thank you for watching, and if you would be kind enough to like and subscribe below, I hope to have more videos coming out soon. Thanks. Bye.